Now I would like to introduce you to three new functions: the left function, right function, and length function. And we will also be using the find function, which is a function that we have already covered in the last tutorial. Now what I would like to do is this. I have this list of names, and basically I've got this list from a random name generator, and in total there are 100 names, as you can see. And now what I would like to do is delete the numbers that came before the name, and I'd like to have the first name in a separate column and the second name in a separate column as well. Now there's a bit of an Easter egg when it comes to doing this, and I'll show it at the end of this tutorial. But I've got to go with the hard way around to show you how to use these new functions. Okay, so the first thing I need you to do is come to the cell here, type in space, then put length in here, and then put name in here. Now you don't have to have the titles, but they help us to some degree. So now what I would like to do is use the find function to find the first space within the first name, and that would be the space between full stop and the letter D. So I'm going to place my cell here, equals find open parentheses. Since we want to find space, so we'll just go with double quotes, space, double quotes again, and comma will go in, and it is asking within which text you want to find this comma. So we'll just select this cell here, we'll close it off, and we'll press enter. You can do this way, or I can show you another way to do this. Just come to the cell, come to formulas, text, and here is your find function. Now in this field it's just asking, okay, what are you looking for? So like I said, I just want to look for the space. Now you could, if you want, put double quotes with a space in between like that, and that would represent a space, or you can just press the space bar, but we'll just go with this. And now in this next field, it's asking us within what text we want to find this space. So we'll just select this, and it is giving us the sample answer of 3. So it is saying that we have found the space, and it's 3 spaces from the left. So now we can click OK. Now we have the number 3 here. Now what I need to do is just click, hold and drag all the way down to the bottom of this column. While this is still selected, I'll just come to home and I'll centralize them. I'll centralize this also because we haven't selected that, and that's done. Now the next thing we need to do is to find the length of these names, or I could say all of these characters, spaces within each of these names. So the length function is probably one of the easiest functions you will ever use. So to get this function, come back to the formulas, click on text, and you have to find LEN, that is length function. Just click on that. Even though I have written it down as length, the actual function is len, and we only have one input here, and all we have to do is just select the cell here, and it is giving us that okay, this cell has 14 characters. So we'll press OK to that, and now I'll just double click here at the bottom side of this cell, and it will autofill. And we weren't able to do that with the first column here because there was a space in between where the original text were and where the answer to the function is. So in this particular instance, I had to use click, hold and drag to autofill in this column. Okay, I won't bother centralizing these numbers because we will be deleting them in a minute. Okay, now we are ready to get rid of the numbers within the name. And to do this, we are going to use the right function. We're gonna count the 14 characters from the right, and basically then we are going to add 3 characters by subtracting 3, and by the time we are done with this we should have all the numbers deleted. So it is the right function, and this can be found again under the formulas, text, and all you have to do is to find right. In this first input cell, it's just asking about the text that it would be dealing with, and that would obviously be the name. So what we are doing with this input cell is we are saying, okay, this is what I need you to do. I need you to count 14 characters from the right, and as you can see that in the sample answer, it is giving us back the whole number and the two names because the 14 characters has gone all the way to the left. Or instead of writing 14, we can just select the value from this cell here, which is saying length, because we will be using autofill to fill in this column. And I do need to reference this cell. So I'm gonna subtract the space now, which is this number. And as you can see by the sample answer, now we just have Don Larson as an answer, and now we can click OK, and I have the full name now. Now all I have to do is just double click on the bottom right hand side of the cell to autofill, and now I have all of my names by themselves. But there is a bit of issue here, because if I delete any of these data in this space or length column, as you can see, the names disappear. And if I delete the original names, you see we end up with these hash marking, which is the error messages. And what happens there is basically they are functions and they do need the data to exist. So I'll undo my actions there. So what we need to do is we need to copy and paste all of these answers and put them in a different column. But we need to copy and paste them in a certain way. So we'll just select all these names. I have a shortcut for this. You can just click on to this first cell. Now Control, Shift and down arrow. All the names in this column will get selected. Now Control plus C to copy, and then come to this column and you have to go to Home, Paste. Now you have to click here in the drop down, and now you have to select Paste Values. Click on that. Now you can just press Escape to get rid of these markings here. And now what you need to do is just select all of this data, Control Shift down arrow, and just delete that. Select the first cell with the name in it, Control Shift down arrow, scroll back to the top, and then just move these over to the left. So what we did there was we just pasted the values, and that created a disconnection between the original data and the function itself. So these name that stands at the moment, they are just normal text. Okay, so the next step is now to get the first name in a separate column and the last name in the separate column. And we will be covering that in the next part of this tutorial.